June 17, 1943. The morning sun filtered through the barbed wire of Camp Algona, Iowa, casting long shadows across rows of identical wooden barracks. In the distance, the rhythmic hum of machinery drifted from the nearby farms, a sound that would soon shake the very foundations of what captured German soldiers believed about the world beyond their homeland. Oberstleutnant Klaus Brenner pressed his face against the window of Transport Car 47, watching endless miles of golden wheat fields roll past. The mechanical pulse of American abundance had already begun. These men, 425,000 German prisoners of war scattered across 700 camps throughout the United States, expected hardship. They expected the kind of brutal captivity their own forces had inflicted upon enemy soldiers. What they found instead would fundamentally alter their understanding of industrial power, democratic prosperity, and the very nature of modern civilization. The German High Command had prepared its soldiers for many things during the war. They had been told about American weakness, about a soft democracy corrupted by luxury and racial mixing. They had been assured that the United States, stretched thin across two ocean theaters, lacked the industrial backbone to sustain a prolonged conflict. Wehrmacht training manuals described American society as fractured, inefficient, dependent on foreign labor and resources. When these young men, many barely out of their teens, were captured in North Africa, Sicily, and Normandy, they carried with them the certainty that they were merely prisoners of a nation already crumbling under the weight of its own contradictions. The reality that greeted them on American soil shattered every assumption they had carried across the Atlantic. Klaus Brenner, a radio operator from Bavaria who had served with Rommel's Afrika Korps, would later write in his diary, "We thought we were being taken to a country rationing everything, where people stood in lines for bread like in Berlin. Instead, we saw farmhouses lit up like Christmas markets, with lights burning in every window." The contrast could not have been more stark. In Germany, blackout regulations had plunged the Reich into darkness since 1940. Even before the war, rural electrification had reached barely 20% of German farms. Yet here, in the American heartland, electricity blazed from every farmhouse window, illuminating scenes of abundance that defied everything these prisoners had been taught to believe about their enemies. The first weeks in American POW camps became a succession of small shocks, each one chipping away at deeply held convictions about German technological superiority and American weakness. The camps themselves, built to Geneva Convention standards, offered amenities that many German soldiers had never experienced even in civilian life. Clean barracks with electric lighting, hot showers with unlimited water, medical facilities better equipped than many German field hospitals. But it was the work details that truly opened their eyes to the scope of American industrial power. When prisoner work gangs were assigned to local farms, a program designed both to address wartime labor shortages and to expose German prisoners to American democratic values, they encountered a technological revolution that redefined their understanding of modern life. The washing machine became the symbol of this awakening, though it was far from the only one. In the summer of 1943, Hans Müller, a former Panzer mechanic from Dresden, was assigned to work on the Peterson farm outside Fort McClellan, Alabama. His first morning began at dawn, walking through fields of corn that stretched beyond the horizon. In Germany, he would later recount, a farm like this would employ 50 families. Here, one family with machines did the work of 100 men. But it was when Mrs. Peterson invited the work detail inside for lunch that Müller experienced what he would call his American revelation. She led them past an electric refrigerator larger than any he had seen in German department stores to a kitchen that hummed with mechanical efficiency. An electric stove, a mechanical dishwasher, and in the corner, occupying a place of honor, stood an automatic washing machine. Not the hand-cranked washers he knew from German farmhouses, but a gleaming white appliance that filled itself with water, agitated clothes through programmed cycles, and drained automatically. Mrs. Peterson demonstrated its operation with casual indifference, as if such marvels were commonplace in American homes. Müller stared in disbelief. This single machine represented more sophisticated engineering than many German military installations. The automatic timer, the water level sensors, the precise mechanical agitation system, all controlled by a simple dial that any housewife could operate. In his diary, he wrote, "Today I saw a machine that thinks. It knows when to stop, when to drain, when to spin. And it sits in a farmhouse kitchen like it belongs there, like every American family deserves to own the miracles of the future." The implications were staggering. If American farmers possessed such technological marvels in their homes, what must their factories be capable of producing? The prisoners began to understand that they had not been defeated by a weak democracy, but by an industrial colossus whose productive capacity dwarfed anything they had imagined possible. Statistical evidence supported their growing realization. By 1940, American electricity production reached 180 billion kilowatt-hours, annually 3 times Germany's output. Nearly 90% of American urban homes had electricity, and rural electrification programs had brought power to over 1 million farm families. By 1943, as German prisoners worked American fields, they witnessed firsthand the fruits of this electrical revolution: automatic milking machines, electric feed grinders, mechanized irrigation systems, and yes, washing machines in farmhouse after farmhouse. The contrast with German rural life was devastating to their worldview. In 1940, fewer than 40% of German households owned electric refrigerators, and washing machines remained luxury items available only to the urban middle class. German farms relied heavily on manual labor and animal power, with only the largest agricultural estates possessing mechanized equipment. The American prisoners were witnessing the democratization of technology, advanced machinery, placed in the hands of ordinary citizens as a matter of course. George Kellerman, captured with the Afrika Korps and sent to a POW camp in Nebraska, described his transformation in letters that would later be preserved in the National Archives. "I have seen American housewives operate machines that our best engineers would study for months. They push buttons and machines obey. They turn dials and water heats itself. They load clothes into metal boxes and emerge clean and dry without human hands touching them. This is not the America described in our newspapers. This is a nation that has harnessed lightning to serve every citizen." The washing machine became more than an appliance in these encounters. It evolved into a symbol of American democratic abundance. Unlike the rigid hierarchies of German society, where advanced technology remained concentrated in the hands of industrial and military elites, American prosperity appeared distributed among common people. Farm families possessed conveniences that German officers could only dream of acquiring. The message was unmistakable: democratic capitalism had produced not weakness, but unprecedented material abundance. As prisoners worked longer assignments on American farms, they witnessed the broader ecosystem of prosperity that made such abundance possible. They saw the rural free delivery that brought mail to every farmhouse, the electric cooperatives that had brought power to remote areas, the agricultural extension services that shared scientific knowledge freely among farmers. They observed a society that had systematically eliminated the drudgery of manual labor through technological innovation and democratic distribution of its benefits. The impact on prisoner morale was profound and lasting. Letters and diary entries from German POWs reveal a consistent pattern of growing admiration for American industrial achievement coupled with increasing doubts about Nazi propaganda. As Brenner wrote in his diary, "We were told that Americans were soft, that they could not match German discipline and efficiency. But I have watched an American farmer's wife manage her household with machines that respond to her commands like well-trained soldiers. She accomplishes more in one morning than our hardest working German farm woman could complete in a week. This is not softness. This is the victory of human intelligence over human suffering." The washing machine, with its automatic cycles and programmed intelligence, represented everything the German prisoners had been taught to dismiss about American society. It was efficient without being militaristic, powerful without being aggressive, sophisticated without being exclusive. It served the needs of common people rather than the ambitions of military leaders. In its steady mechanical rhythm, fill, agitate, drain, spin, they heard the heartbeat of a civilization that had chosen abundance over conquest, comfort over ideology. As the war progressed and more German prisoners experienced American farm life, their letters home began to challenge Nazi narratives about American weakness. Censors noted a marked increase in requests for information about American industrial methods and agricultural techniques. Some prisoners began learning English not to facilitate escape, but to better understand the society that had created such widespread prosperity. The psychological impact of American abundance was achieving what military victories alone could not: the genuine conversion of enemy soldiers to democratic ideals. The transformation was not lost on American officials managing the POW program. Reports from camp commanders consistently noted that prisoners assigned to farm work showed the lowest rates of disciplinary problems and the highest levels of cooperation with re-education efforts. Exposure to American abundance, epitomized by the humble washing machine, was proving more effective than lectures or propaganda films in demonstrating the superiority of democratic capitalism. Winter came early to Iowa in 1943, and with it came a new revelation for the German prisoners. As temperatures dropped and snow covered the farmlands, they discovered that American abundance extended beyond the warm months of agricultural plenty. The farmhouses remained lit, the washing machines continued their cycles, the electric heaters maintained comfortable temperatures throughout the coldest months. This was not seasonal prosperity dependent on favorable weather, but year-round abundance sustained by industrial capacity and electrical infrastructure. Klaus Brenner, now 6 months into his captivity, wrote, "Tonight I watched Mrs. Henderson operate her washing machine by electric light while snow fell outside her kitchen window. The machine filled with hot water, not heated laboriously over a fire, but flowing instantly from pipes connected to an electric water heater. She loaded a week's worth of family washing, set the timer, and walked away to prepare dinner while the machine completed its work." In Germany, washing such clothes would require an entire day of heating water, scrubbing by hand, and hanging wet garments to dry. Here, it happens automatically while she tends to other tasks. This is not just convenience. This is the liberation of human time and energy for higher purposes. The prisoners began to understand that American industrial production had achieved something unprecedented in human history: the mass production of time itself. By mechanizing household labor, American society had freed its citizens, particularly women, to pursue education, commerce, and civic participation in ways that remained impossible in more traditional societies. The washing machine was not merely cleaning clothes. It was washing away centuries of domestic drudgery and creating space for human potential to flourish. Documentation from the National Archives reveals that German POWs frequently asked their American guards about the availability of such appliances in German households before the war. When told that American-made washing machines had been exported to European markets throughout the 1930s, many prisoners expressed astonishment that their own government had failed to recognize the implications of such widespread mechanical sophistication. If Americans could mass-produce complex household appliances for domestic consumption, what else might they be capable of manufacturing when directed toward military purposes? The answer, of course, was becoming apparent on battlefields around the world. The same industrial capacity that filled American farmhouses with automatic washing machines was simultaneously producing 297,000 aircraft, 193,000 artillery pieces, 86,000 tanks, and 8,800 naval vessels. The mechanical precision that ensured perfect wash cycles was being applied to the manufacture of precision instruments, advanced electronics, and sophisticated weapon systems. American abundance was not a sign of frivolous luxury, but evidence of industrial supremacy directed toward both civilian comfort and military victory. By spring 1944, as the war entered its final phase, German prisoners working American farms had developed what camp administrators called technological consciousness, an acute awareness of the relationship between democratic institutions and material prosperity. They understood that washing machines were possible because American society had organized itself to pursue collective abundance rather than individual power. The same democratic values that ensured fair distribution of electrical power to rural areas also ensured fair distribution of technological benefits to common citizens. Hans Müller, the former Panzer mechanic, summarized this realization in a letter to his family that survived wartime censorship. I am learning that American strength comes not from superior individual soldiers, but from superior collective organization. Every American farm family possesses machines that embody the combined intelligence of thousands of engineers, manufacturers, and electricians. When I operate Mrs. Peterson's washing machine, I am benefiting from the accumulated knowledge of an entire civilization dedicated to improving ordinary life. German soldiers fight harder as individuals, but American society fights smarter as a collective. This is why they are winning. The washing machine had become a lens through which German prisoners understood not just American industrial capacity, but American social philosophy. Democracy, they began to realize, was not weakness disguised as governance, but strength organized for the benefit of all citizens rather than the glory of a few leaders. The mechanical hum of automatic appliances represented the sound of human liberation from ancient drudgery liberation achieved through cooperative effort rather than conquest. The deeper psychological impact of these encounters became evident as German prisoners witnessed the social dynamics surrounding American household technology. They observed that washing machines did not create laziness, as Nazi propaganda had suggested American conveniences would, but rather freed American women to participate more fully in community life, education, and economic activity. Farm wives who spent less time on manual laundry devoted more hours to operating farm businesses, teaching in local schools, or organizing community events. The mechanical efficiency of household appliances translated directly into expanded human possibilities. This revelation struck at the heart of German ideological assumptions about the relationship between struggle and character. Nazi doctrine insisted that hardship and manual labor built superior moral fiber, that comfort led to decadence and weakness. Yet here were American families who possessed unprecedented material comfort, while simultaneously demonstrating the industrial discipline and organizational capability to wage global war on multiple fronts. Their washing machines had not made them soft, they had made them more capable of applying human energy to higher pursuits. Friedrich Weber, a former U-boat officer imprisoned at Camp Algona, wrote extensively about this paradox in letters that would later be studied by post-war sociologists. I expected Americans to be weakened by their machines, made dependent and helpless without mechanical assistance. Instead, I have discovered that their machines have made them stronger by freeing them from the burden of repetitive manual tasks. An American farm wife operates more complex machinery before breakfast than most German workers encounter in their entire careers. She is not dependent on her washing machine. She is empowered by it to accomplish things that would be impossible without such mechanical assistance. The cultural shock extended beyond individual appliances to encompass the entire infrastructure that made such abundance possible. German prisoners working on American farms witnessed the vast network of electrical generation and distribution that powered rural prosperity. They saw the cooperative organizations that had brought electricity to remote areas, the standardized electrical systems that ensured compatibility across vast distances, the manufacturing networks that produced identical appliances for millions of households. This was not random prosperity, but systematic abundance achieved through democratic planning and cooperative effort. The contrast with German rural infrastructure was devastating to their understanding of technological superiority. German farms, even before the war, relied heavily on local power generation and manual systems. Electrical service remained inconsistent outside major urban areas, and household appliances were expensive luxury items available only to wealthy families. American prisoners were witnessing the democratic distribution of technological convenience, advanced machinery made available to ordinary citizens through systematic industrial organization and cooperative economic structures. Werner Hoffman, captured at Anzio and assigned to work on Nebraska farms, documented his growing understanding of American technological democracy in detailed diary entries. Today, I helped repair Mrs. Johnson's washing machine. She called a repair service, and within hours, a technician arrived with replacement parts manufactured specifically for her appliance model. The repair was completed in 30 minutes using standardized components available throughout the country. In Germany, such a repair would require weeks of waiting for custom parts, if replacement were possible at all. Here, abundance includes not just the original product, but the entire system needed to maintain and service that product indefinitely. This insight into American industrial systems revealed the true scope of democratic technological organization. The washing machine was not an isolated marvel, but the visible tip of an enormous infrastructure iceberg that included electrical generation, water systems, sewage treatment, parts manufacturing, repair services, and distribution networks. American abundance was systematic abundance, achieved through the coordination of countless specialized enterprises working together to serve common prosperity. The prisoners began to understand that American industrial superiority came not from individual brilliance or superior individual discipline, but from superior collective organization. Democratic institutions had created systems for harnessing individual creativity within cooperative frameworks, producing technological solutions that served everyone rather than just military or industrial elites. The washing machine represented the successful application of advanced engineering to solve ordinary problems faced by ordinary people, a fundamentally different approach to technological development than the German focus on military applications and elite consumption. As 1944 progressed toward 1945, German prisoners witnessed American abundance, adapting to wartime demands without sacrificing civilian prosperity. Even as American factories converted to military production, household appliances continued operating in farmhouse kitchens across the continent. The infrastructure that supported washing machines also supported the production of aircraft engines, precision instruments, and advanced weapon systems. American society had achieved the integration of civilian comfort with military capability, demonstrating that democratic abundance and military effectiveness were complementary rather than contradictory. The washing machine stood as proof that American strength came from the successful organization of society around human flourishing rather than human sacrifice. Its presence in countless farmhouse kitchens testified to a civilization that had learned to harness technology for collective benefit, creating abundance through cooperation rather than extracting wealth through conquest. In its steady mechanical rhythm, German prisoners heard the sound of a society that had solved the ancient problem of scarcity through democratic innovation and shared prosperity. As victory approached in 1945, American officials began planning for the eventual repatriation of German prisoners. Many POWs expressed reluctance to return to a Germany they now understood had been devastated not just by military defeat, but by the exposure of its ideological limitations. They had experienced a society where advanced technology served human comfort rather than military ambition, where abundance was shared democratically rather than hoarded by elites, where the future was being built in farmhouse kitchens as surely as in industrial factories. Some prisoners, like George Kellerman, would eventually emigrate to the United States after the war, drawn by memories of abundance, symbolized by household appliances that seemed to embody American democratic values. Others returned to Germany, carrying with them new understanding of what modern society could achieve when organized around human welfare rather than national glory. The washing machine symbol of American abundance, democratic distribution of technology, and the mechanization of domestic labor had performed a function its designers never intended: the conversion of enemy soldiers to democratic ideals through direct experience of democratic prosperity. The final transport of German prisoners departed American shores in 1946, but the impact of their encounter with American abundance would resonate for decades. Many would become advocates for democratic reform in post-war Germany, drawing explicitly on their memories of American farm life to argue for policies that would bring technological convenience and material prosperity to German households. The Marshall Plan, which helped rebuild Western Europe after the war, benefited from German understanding of American industrial capacity gained through first-hand observation of washing machines and electric appliances in Iowa farmhouses. Klaus Brenner, returning to Bavaria in late 1946, carried with him detailed sketches of American appliances and notes on American agricultural methods. He would eventually establish a small manufacturing company producing household appliances for the German market, explicitly modeling his products on the American machines he had observed during his captivity. In his memoir published decades later, he wrote, "The washing machine taught me that democracy is not a form of government, but a way of organizing society so that the miracles of human intelligence serve everyone rather than just the powerful." Every appliance in every American kitchen was a vote for the proposition that ordinary people deserve extraordinary lives. The story of German POWs and American washing machines reveals the profound connection between technological abundance and democratic values. In the steady rhythm of automatic cycles, fill, wash, rinse, spin, German prisoners heard the mechanical heartbeat of a civilization that had chosen to organize itself around human flourishing rather than human domination. They learned that American strength came not from superior weapons alone, but from superior social organization that channeled collective intelligence toward collective benefit. The washing machine stood as testament to the democratic principle that advanced technology should serve all citizens, not just military or industrial elites. Its presence in farmhouse after farmhouse across the American heartland demonstrated that democratic capitalism had achieved something unprecedented in human history: the mass production and democratic distribution of convenience, comfort, and time itself. German prisoners, expecting to find weakness and decadence, instead discovered a society that had mechanized abundance and democratized prosperity. In the end, the humble washing machine accomplished what no amount of military propaganda could achieve: the genuine conversion of enemy soldiers to democratic ideals through direct experience of democratic abundance. Its automatic cycles washed more than clothes; they cleansed away illusions about American weakness and German superiority, leaving behind a clear understanding of what democratic society could accomplish when organized around human welfare rather than military glory. The mechanical hum that had first greeted German prisoners in Iowa farmhouses would echo in their memories long after the war ended, a reminder that true strength lies not in the capacity to destroy, but in the wisdom to create abundance and the generosity to share it democratically among all citizens. In learning to operate American washing machines, German prisoners had learned to operate within American values, and in doing so, they had discovered the technological and social foundations of democratic victory.